Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is our game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition, and today we will watch the combat animation or the battle phase of 20th January 1942 and 21st January 1942, or it is turn 23. Good, let's dive in and see what happened. The Battle of Nomaya is now already over, and the first carrier fleet is sailing to the east coast of Australia. They're sailing west, but our destination is more or less the Bay of Sydney. And in China we have upcoming battles. But let's see what exactly happened. It's already a little time ago. Yeah. Most of the time we have a very quiet night. Okay, this is a battleship group hunting for cargo or whatever is left of southwest of India, the greater area of the Bay of Ceylon, maybe, or Colombo. But this is, I think, only a, I don't know, a patrol craft or something small, and we have here two battleships, so no match. That's thing we know. So it's AMC, so it's a local minesweeper. 1 point ship. So I just don't know how many we sunk of this type already. Maybe 20, maybe 30. Normally every bigger and important harbor need one of these ships to make sure if the enemy is most of the time sneaking in with submarines and laser mines, then this kind of ship will normally always detect these mines and get rid of them. Still, the mine war, I really never get used to it. I use them only for defense so far. Much easier. It's important to have them, yeah, for sure. An important port need mines, that is sure. It's something, it will normally block submarines away. I mean, if a submarine try to enter a port with a lot of mines, it's there's a very high chance that the submarine will get at least damaged, maybe even get sunk. So now we can see this is a light cruiser, or I would say a destroyer formation, hunting in the area of Calcutta, the Bay of Bengal, you can see. We check the ports nearby, but we cannot enter and check Calcutta, because for sure here are mines. So I will not risk to send my task force so far away from any support into some high risk area. The task of this force is more or less really to intercept cargo shipping, maybe battle with something equal powerful, but really go fast in, make trouble for Dojo, maybe force him to shut down his cargo shipping and let him freeze his supply chain, and all of this. Always show up somewhere, make it trouble, but also never stay too long at one position, so he never can organize some defense. We operate too far away from our own base without air cover, without any special heavy assistance, so this, to stay here too long is too risky. You can see this as this 1 point local torpedo boats or whatever. They are not really important, but each ship is 1 point. This looks like again a local minesweeper. So yeah, AMC. At least we say we sunk something. At least we was busy a little. So now we can see this is our battleship fleet. The battleships are west of India because they have simply much more fighting power. If they if the battleship fleet find some cruisers or even enemy battleships, then there is still a chance that our task force can hold the line, battle the enemy, and maybe kill them. But at least the point is, they can take the fight, and if they retreat, then it's not easy for Dojo to sink this battleship group. A destroyer or light cruiser formation is really, there is not much power behind this kind of task forces. They are fast, yeah, they are hard to hit with air forces, but if there's an enemy heavy cruiser, then we will get trouble. Okay, I think this is now the second or even the third attempt of winning the airspace about Rangoon, but of course, we must always. This air battle of Rangoon will be ongoing for at least maybe 1 month, and more or less it's always one turn strike and sweep, one turn rest, so that our pilots never have any fatigue problems. Also that our fighter groups are normally more or less operating with 90% and more airplanes, so that we always can come with the numbers. I try to let my pilot rest, I train them well, I choose the right pilots, I keep every unit I use have the HQ, the area or Air Force HQ is located in this airbase. Every fighter operating from this base is linked to the HQ, so it will get this bonus to recover morale faster, to lower fatigue, I think, and also it will maybe help to I think this is the most important for the HQ. The HQ will not give any fighting bonus because this is I think will be not realistic. A HQ normally only helps with the organization, that the pilot get faster skill points, that the pilot can faster recover from fatigue. And also I think it will help if you operate different air wings together in one strike. Then the HQ will maybe give a bonus for this check, that the check is positive, that the air wings will operate together. It means you send fighters with bombers together and they will really fly together, and not that the bombers go first and later the fighters alone. This can happen if your check was negative, means then the cooperation was not successful. For this kind of stuff, I think it's always better to have a HQ in the base, and that the air wing is a part of this HQ. Because if the air wing is not part of the HQ, then I think the HQ simply only deliver only support, aviation support. So it means you can repair, maintenance the airplanes, like this stuff. But I don't think if the air wing is not connected to the HQ, you will not get any of this other bonus, like faster reducing of fatigue, fast increasing of skill points, and maybe soft other stuff, morale boost. If a squadron lose too many airplanes in short time, of course this will lower the morale of this unit. And if the wing have, I think, low morale, then there's always a check at the beginning of a mission, and if the morale is too low, I think it's some leadership check. If this check is not successful, then more or less, then the squadron will not take part. Will simply reject the mission. The pilots simply will say, no, we don't have the fighting spirit, we don't fly this mission. Oh, now we just lost one of our zeros. Okay, but this is only what I do. I make always sure before I end my turn that I check every airport I operate out of units, that there's no red number, means there's no overstack. I make sure that the fatigue is always less than 20. 20 is normally the maximum I use for active striking fatigue. If you defend a base, of course, then it's maybe another topic. But let's say this, if I attack, I don't let any squadron fly if it's have over 20. Normally at 15 I already say, okay, better make 1 day rest. I make sure that the HQ and the air squadron is linked and it's working well together. All of this you normally must always check. Yeah, I don't say you must do it, but I would say it is really better to check this again before you end the turn, that no overstack for a base, that the fatigue is not too high. At least these two things you must check. Okay, I think more or less we kill some of Dojo's Flying Tigers again, or at least we force them to return and maybe make a crash landing. I would simply say the British Air Force is no match for the Japanese. Officially we have a now 1-to-3 kill ratio. At the end of the turn we can see what are the true numbers. Here you can see that the Oscar 1Bs again fight the Buffaloes. The Buffaloes are simply weaker compared to the Flying Tigers, so I choose my weaker airplanes because the 1B is also weaker compared to the 1C, and so that we keep the balance. I send my weak airplanes to fight Dojo's weak airplanes. I will use my strong airplanes to fight Dojo's strong airplanes. But I think the active duty of the 1Bs are soon over. If the Buffaloes are not more, I will retire this unit and change the airframe. I give this fighting wing the 1C, because these pilots have experience, they get already some kills. And the 1B I will give some training squadron, because I think they're simply not more good enough to really be the first rank fighting units. Maybe, of course, you can use them still in China, but in China there's not much left. So Dojo only operate most of time Flying Tigers in China, then I have the same problem. And I have enough 1C Oscars now, so I think it's not really necessary to use the 1B for active duty. Yeah. This is now again okay. These are the zeros with drop tanks, long distance sweep. I think these are the distance is 12. So you will consume double supplies and the pilots get double fatigue. So if you make this kind of stuff, you always better check after every turn the fatigues of your pilots. This long range strikes are really very tired. Yeah, let your pilots really very fast gets tired. Increase the fatigue a lot. But this Dutch air wings or air forces, they are really no match. Our Zeros kill them so easy. I mean, you can now really see, first the Zero is, I mean, so far maybe the best fighter in the war. In this time period, I think there is simply no better fighter. The Zero is not the fastest, but the firepower is really, it's good. 220mm cannons and 2 light machine guns, and the experience of the pilots are also top. So I think they have equal skills like our carrier fighters. The carrier fighters are normally the elite pilots, but these guys are land-based, but they have similar skill level. I think I have one of this heavy squadron. Normally the big squadron is 45 airplanes. A small wing is only 12. But I have 2 big fighter squadrons. One's operating in China and making care that the Dojo's Flying Tigers don't shut down our bombers. And this second fighter wing I operate together always from here. With these fighters I normally clean up Singapore, and now in Palembang there was not much. I tried but I found nothing. And more or less now their job is to get rid of the Air Force of Java before we start the invasion sooner or later. And if Java is over, that guys are maybe more or less responsible to clean up Darwin. And after Darwin, maybe I think sooner or later they all go to Rabul, because they are Zeros and they have the long distance. The army fighters, I think they are good enough for operation in Rangoon. In Rangoon you don't need so much range, so I would say simply the Army Air Force will focus for China, Rangoon, India. Roughly. And the Navy Air Force will focus for Rabul, Port Moresby, Tulagi, New Caledonia. The distance is, you need drop tanks and you need the distance, and the Zero fighters can operate up to 14 hex. And you need this. Ah yeah. 4 more. Let's see how many will return today. And you can also see that so far Dojo don't adjust, I don't know, or maybe I adjust my altitude, but so far we still diving on the Flying Tigers. And that is always normally good. Yeah, this time we get no kill, but all of the Flying Tigers, the first three, all gets hit and must return. Okay. We still want fight? No. Okay. So all four gets forced to return with damage. Yeah, maybe we'll see in this turn the fight of Xian. We will see. Okay. No buffalo more left. Yenan looks also empty, but remember that we damaged a lot of Flying Tigers and also other airplanes, and here we have now some Chinese Russian airplanes. And if you damage the airplane, of course they return to base, and if they don't get destroyed by landing accidents, or if the mechanics say written off, then the mechanics will say, okay, let's repair. And the repair can normally between 1 and 4 days. I think it's depending on the damage. So you must sweep day by day. If you have the numbers, I mean, if you have enough airplanes, then I would simply keep the sweeping. And if you only send 3 or 6 or in this case 9 airplanes day and day, it's still a mission. If you send some fighters out to sweep, it still gives the pilot experience. I mean, even if he don't fight, he get experience. Yeah, if he fight and kill something, he get bonus and much faster and more experience. And if Dojo has these Russian airplanes and they won't fight with a 0, then I say thank you. And it's the beginning, I mean the first year of the war. Normally there will be no issue with supplies. Normally it's not, I don't think it's really possible to run out of supplies so fast. Yeah, if you run so many air missions and if you really non-stop, I mean, normally no airplane I keep it on the ground. Every airplane I have I use for active duty or for training. And maybe 5% is resting because the pilots are tired or what. But normally everything is non-stop running a mission. So yes, this will consume a lot of supplies. I will talk about this at the 1st of February episode, the special. And then you can see how fast I run out of supplies. Then you get a feeling. But keep in mind, this is a war with the Allies. And whatever you do, if you play the Japanese, you never can outlast the American in industry production. So, like Admiral Yamamoto also said, the Japanese, they have a half year, maximum 1 year, they can try to strike everywhere, hard, swift, without mercy, and try to punish their allies and try to end this war in this first 12 months. But after 12 months, normally you will run sooner or later out of supplies. You must slow down. The allies' industry production ramp up more and more. There is normally no way more that you strike so fast, so much, so aggressive. So this is now the landing on Guam, because so far I simply skip it because it was not necessary for me. There is no only a base force normally, and it's impossible, then nearly impossible, that Dojo can reinforce this base and supply this base. So now we land here and take it. Okay, this is there was a bigger force of Dojo, but we can see that I think the big part, or the greater part of his army already in this turn, more or less, because the rule is you walk first and strike later, or first walk, second strike. So most of his army already finished the river crossing in this turn, but these two corps, I don't know, it was a little slower somehow. They simply left behind, and our army can now destroy this complete. I mean, they still retreat, but they retreat to the southwest, and I mean, you can see only once of our squads that gets destroyed. The rest is only simply disabled and need let's say maximum 1 week to recover. And he lost 6,000 guys, and they are all more or less destroyed. Most are destroyed, and only a smaller part is disabled. Okay, this is still the bombardment. I think next turn we will strike again, but this turn is still bombardment. We're still waiting for reinforcement. It's yes, of course you can more or less say I battle now, and you can defeat this Chinese army much faster if you want, but your own army will also suffer more. And like I said before, I simply don't want to bleed out my armies and then rest 1 week to recover everything. I try to be a good general and say I fight if we can win this battle without sharing too much of our own blood. I mean, always keep in mind, if I have the chance and must only wait 2 or 3 turns to get reinforcements, and with these reinforcements we can simply crash this army, then I will say yes, I wait 2-3 turns. If I know there's nothing coming and I need to break him, then I have no choice to attack. In this case, I have the choice. I simply must only organize that I get reinforcements in time, and not drive one army down here, then realize, oh, I have to less, I need more forces, and then send first the Chinese or the reinforcements from Shanghai, and then it needs maybe 2 weeks that they arrive. 2 weeks and 2 turns. This is the difference between be successful and swiftly, and only be somehow successful. Anyway, this is only doesn't matter. This bombardment really doesn't matter. The losses are completely irrelevant. Okay, this is the end of the turn 1. So day 1 is over. This was January 20th. Not much happened. A little air war. I think our fighter pilots was successful in Rangoon, also over Java, and we had a little land battle. Yes, I mean 6,000 dead Chinese or POWs, is also something, not really a big important battle, but something. So it is January 21st. There we saw our cruiser formation reaching the west end of the map, and some of the cruisers have scout planes. So the scout planes are already detecting some forces. Okay, this is now really near to Rangoon, and we can see here three, I don't know, I mean, looks like torpedo boats. Yeah, these are British torpedo boats, and one gets killed, one gets damaged. Normally one hit, one kill. In this case, maybe survived. Here again, some looks like an AMC, local Minesweeper. Again, the fuel this task force is burning in this mission is, of course, let's say, more expensive, have more value than these shitty ships. But the main purpose is not really, I mean, of course, if we can sink big cargo, that will be very, very nice. But the main purpose is more or less for me still to force Dojo to freeze his shipping. He maybe see us coming, but a battleship group is not easy. It's something he cannot easy attack. And so he will normally always retreat, and it costs him time again and again. He is losing time. He still cannot reinforce Cylon, and this will give us our time to reorganize the second carrier fleet, that we maybe can get a second airstrike on Cylon before Dojo can really bring a lot of stuff there. So what he will bring to Cylon is maybe not strong enough, and we have a more easy task to sweep away what he already installed there. Okay, this is now the invasion fleet of Balikpapan, and we saw that our battleship get in contact with a mine. You also saw that there was some mine sweeping before. So there's no other way. If you want to make a big invasion fleet, you normally need heavy cruisers or better battleships to suppress the enemy coastal guns. But if the enemy have mines, then you can only add the minesweepers, so that the minesweepers will locate the mines. This will already reduce the chance that you hit a mine. Also, the minesweepers will start to clean up the mines. But it's simply a question of numbers. 100 if the port is protected by 100 mines and you detect the mines, then the chance that you hit something is very low. But if there are 300 mines or 500 mines or something, simply more, then even if you detect some mines, you will not detect all mines. And this is, I think, the game simply say, okay, each ship have a chance to hit a mine with 0.1%, and then depending how many mines and how many ships, and then I don't know how the game really calculates this, but you can understand. More mines, more chance to hit something. And in this case, one battleship out of the whole group hit a mine. And then you can say, yeah, the battleship is maybe the most important ship, but it's also the ship can handle any mine damage best. A battleship will not simply. I mean, it must be very unlucky that one mine hit is enough to sink a battleship. So at the end of the turn, we can check how is the situation of the battleship, and then you can see what was the damage impact this mine had on the battleship. Okay, the sky of China is again completely under control of the Japanese Air Force. Yeah, the bombardment of China. There is simply nothing Dojo can do at this point of the war. Maybe at the beginning he had a chance, or maybe later if we get a lot of reinforcements. But now it's simply the only chance Dojo had at the beginning that he sent all Flying Tigers to China, and then he tried locally to simply get rid of one of my fighter squadron, then try to catch the next fighter squadron. But it looks like the Dojo split the forces he had. He sent more 1/3 to China and 2/3 to Rangoon, and he come too late. So the air wings he sent to China was too little, too late. And Rangoon was more or less the same. The Flying Tigers and the Buffaloes was simply overwhelmed by the sheer number and maybe the skills of the Japanese Air Force. So, but I cannot simply say how to make it better. I would simply say maybe more or less don't fight any air war in China at all and try to only fight in Rangoon, or make the opposite and say I bring everything to China and I only fight in China. In China, I think the Allies really have the problem with the supply. There's not much aviation supply, and if you use the Air Force, it burns supplies, and the supplies are missing then for the ground forces. So I think in China it's really only best to operate recon and fighters, not bombers. Bombers simply burn too much supplies for the Chinese. And Dojo not really use any bombers so far, so it makes sense. He saved his supplies for his army. And because I think you saw this just now with the torpedo bomber, I think this is only I don't know if it's a bug or this is a scout plane, a recon plane. The Japanese Navy have a recon plane, and this recon plane is originally a torpedo bomber. But they get rid of the torpedo equipment and other stuff, but they simply make out of a torpedo bomber They install a camera and then they say now it's a recon airplane. But somehow the game says it's a torpedo bomber. Yes, it is a torpedo bomber plane, but with the camera and recon equipment. It cannot carry more any torpedoes. But the game still says it's a torpedo bomber. I also don't know, sometimes the game say exactly what type of airplane is it, and sometimes it only say it is a plane. So don't ask me why it separates this. Why I get sometimes exact the date, what exact plane it is, and sometimes only roughly, and sometimes wrong. Anyway, maybe this is some kind of fog of war, but I don't know. Okay. There's still some Dutch fighters in the air. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's maybe better. I don't know. I also don't know for Java. I don't know if Dojo makes something wrong with his Air Force or is they really so shitty. I can only say thank you. Thank you. One buffalo. Okay, that was buffalo. Nothing for the Dojos again. Here you can see again this is a torpedo bomber. But here you can see only Japanese aircraft. And sometimes you again Japanese fighter. Here's again the torpedo bomber. Now I really get no feeling why sometimes they say only there is a plane and sometimes you can see it's a zero. It's a K-26 or a B-15 or whatever. You get exact information. Yeah. So there we lost. Okay, and looks also one of the minesweepers hit a mine, and of course the minesweeper is something like a. Normally, I think the minesweepers are old destroyers, very old destroyers, and they only get some special hunting equipment to kill mines. But the value of this kind of ships, I think, about 2 or 3 points for one ship. Okay, now is the ground bombardment, and this is now the invasion. And you can see the battleships, they don't care. This one of the cargo ships get some damage. I can see some are on fire. A little, yeah, they hit us a little, but most important, we killed already 200 of these Dutch guys. A lot of the non-combats are disabled, and there's not only not too much fighting power, but a lot of mines and strong coastal guns. So you need some specials, a little stronger stuff. Okay. This is the end. Oh no. One more bombardment. Bombardment is again not really important. As you can see, nearly equal. So this is normally, even for the Japanese now, not so nice, because if we kill one, or if we fight 1-1 with the Chinese, it's terrible for us. No? We have normally much more guns, but our attack value is much higher, but yeah, it's not resilient. Okay, here's now the shock attack of Xi'an. And we can see that the two armies, the 1st and the 6th Japanese army, arrive here. This is one division, 2 divisions, 3 divisions, and some mixed brigade, more or less, you can say. And Dojo have here also one mixed brigade, fighting power, and 2 more. Yeah, roughly I would say we are triple the power than the same. Let's see. Success or failure? Looks like success. The Chinese cannot hold the ground and are forced to withdraw. But they really escape more or less all. None of them. It looks like really no one give up. They still won't fight the other day. So we come with 2,500. He had nearly 900. But he suffered. And we lost also a little fighting power, but he lost much more. So he was not well prepared. One of the flying tigers gets destroyed on the ground. And he just simply had no morale, no experience, and also the preparation was not correct. I mean, we lost still a lot. It was costly because we still crossed the river. But it's war, and sometimes there's no other option. I need to take Xi'an to cut all supplies. So with now both cities under our control, these 2 cities, there's no supply more. They are now official and settled. No supply can enter more these 2 hexes. All his units will starve now. And this is our landing force for marine. Yeah, platoons, or no, they are not bigger than platoons. They are special forces. You can see this is his because this is a takeoff from the Allies. So these are the Dutch forces with 44, and we have 250. So we have 5 times the firepower. Okay, so now it's January 22nd of 1942, and we can check around. First, the air war, or the losses. So, and these are real numbers without Falkland War. So far I really know this is true numbers, and these are Falkland War numbers. So if we see here these kills, and I think they are really without, because the game have 2 different setups. The Navy setup is more or less really old Fog of War, so the sunk ships are not true. I mean, for I know of course what I lost, this is true, but this is Fog of War. The ground force I think is also true numbers, and air force is also true numbers. Okay, so 18-1 air to air, of course, this is very good. and no other losses. And here operation losses, yeah, I think still half of these units are related to Chinese bombing campaign. We can check if we see the no, let's make this. So we kill 5 flying tigers in the air. No, wait. Yes, flying tigers. And 5 Russian Chinese fighters, 4 Dutch buffaloes, hawks. I think is similar. Yeah, and where's what we lost? We lost 1 Oscar C. Yeah, this I saw. 1 Oscar for this is the only one I think we lost. Yeah, in the air. So and if you see here 5, 10, 14, 17, 20 for 1 fighter. This is a really good ratio. And what we also lost is always 1 here again. 1, this is Jake, is always a the seaplane scout for battleships, cruisers, whatever. 1 of our Navy bombers. I think these are all, yeah, this is mostly China. Always related to the air war of China. So this looks good. And ship sunks last turn. The Japanese lost. Yeah. This is this low Minesweeper Destroyer. And you can see it is the tonnage is 750. So this is really something like a World War I destroyer or a very heavy torpedo boat. Something like this. First a World War I destroyer or a heavy torpedo boat, and then you can see the equipment. It can kill submarines, but their main purpose is get rid of mines. And we lost now 1 of these guys, and he gets killed by coastal guns. And yeah, can happen. This is simply not possible to avoid this. And Dojo lost at least, this is now Focke 4, remember, this is Navy, this is Focke 4. So 4 of his, you can see this is they only have a machine gun? Well, it looks like. So I really don't know what is this kind of ship. It's something machine guns and these are desk chargers. So it's Submarine Hunters. So short range submarine. Oh, okay, you can see anti-submarine. Ah, okay. So they are Submarine Hunters. Okay, they are not torpedo boats. Oh. Okay. And these are local minesweepers. Not really important. This is far too less. This is too less to keep Dojo's Navy production in check. He will get every day much more. But at least we kill something without losing too much on our own. So, okay. Where was the big engagement? Yeah. First, our force arrived here. So now we have nearly 2,000 fighting power. So next turn we can strike here and try to get rid of this 50,000 guys. This force was successful. So we will normally use this nearly 4,500 strong army to cross the river, because this army is simply on the run. And we must kick him once more, and then I think most of his units will simply give up. We also took Chengshaw more or less without a fight. We enter already the hex. And this means at the end of the turn or next turn we can take the city without even losing one guy, only by simply use our operational speed and strategic planning, or however you want to call it. We simply outmaneuver him, and now he cannot hold his cities more. If he stay here, he simply starve out. I wait 1 or 2 weeks and then these guys simply give up. So he must move now. And now he has this long, hard journey without supplies into the mountains. And I don't know if he simply try to cross the mountains to enter the area of Sichuan, or if he try to make if he retakes Xi'an. We will see. I don't know if he takes there's this road. If he takes this way and try to take Xi'an, maybe he also bring here some force from Chengdu, and then maybe he try to link up and come from west and from east. We will see. Or he simply try to cross the mountains. We only know that here 100,000, and I think even more. I think in total it was nearly 200,000, 180,000. I don't know how many will, if he try to cross the mountains, how many of his, I don't know how many will survive this, but we will see. He is simply, nothing happened. And I think we also will starve out the Yenan a little longer, because now we have Xi'an. Now we block this crossway, so there's also nothing coming more to Yenan. Yenan itself only have resource production, so they cannot produce supplies. So now he can simply only, I think there is always a little flow of supplies simply through the desert. But don't ask me how much supplies can go without a road, because there is no road. Yes, up to here is a road, and then I don't know. I think there's a way to calculate this, but I think it doesn't matter. I would simply say here 50,000 guys, and whatever is arriving in Yan'an is simply too less. We can't starve them out because we took the city. So I have no pressure now to take Yan'an. If this was not successful, then I would maybe say, okay, I try to take Yan'an as soon as possible to get rid of this force, and then I reinforce. But now we were successful, so now I can say, I can wait that Dojo is coming for me. We also arrived this hex, so we will take this small town. Here 121 resources, so it's not bad. And we take it without a fight. Means there's no damage. Means all the resources will now produce for our industry. You can also see that we took these 2 cities, so and our reinforcements army arrived here. So we have here also now 1,100, and we can more or less try to intercept this army, because there are only 35,000 guys. This is not so much. I think our army can handle this. And here is the air war. I can show you the units. This was the unit making the sweep. You can see the missing 1 airplane. But you can see here's a we lost 2 air-to-air, 3 operation losses, and 2 airplanes was written off. So we lost 5, 6, 7 airplanes, but we killed 35. This is of course normally I would say a good ratio. But if we make now 1 day rest, or we fight another day, I mean, normally I would say I rest a day and then attack again. We will see next time. And our forces are on the way to Singapore, so I think next turn we will see the first battle of Singapore. Maybe the first and the last battle. and we land our forces in Balikpapan, so we will attack Balikpapan, and normally I don't expect here too much resistance because we already know that our forces is 5 times stronger, not in the numbers, but simply in the fighting power. We also don't have much supplies because this is the first day of landing, and I set up that I land the last moment because I don't want to stay here with this fleet in a minefield for too long. I simply can more or less say every ship retreat and wait here. And first, after we take the base, we bring in the minesweepers, we clean up the mines. If there are no mines more, then all the damaged ships can go enter the port and repair. And only to show you, this is the battleship, the Mutsu. You can see we hit the mine, but you can see the flood damage is 9, 6 are major. This is maybe 1 week, I think not more than 2 weeks in the shipyard. Not really so big damage. The minesweepers, they are more seriously damaged. I don't know if they got always a 120mm gun. Also here 120mm gun. Yeah, these are all damage more or less from the coastal, the defend fire. It was, I mean, for that I sent 2 battleships. Normally I hope that the battleships take all the fire or most of the fire, but somehow still the ships get hit. Yeah, can happen, but the rest is safe. So I can unload the rest of the supplies and then it's fine. And here are the local minesweepers. They waiting to get rid of the Space Force. The problem is if you bring the minesweepers now in and try to clean the mines, then you can do this and you will of course clean some mines, but at the same time this local battery fire still gets this the chance to, at the same time they try to clean the mines, and so they must operate slow, and then this battery can attack you and then you lose your minesweepers. And if even if these ships have only a value of 1, they have a value of 1. I mean, like I said, I hate to waste stuff if I must waste it. Okay. Anything else? Oh yeah, here our army also arrived here, so we will normally get rid of this last Dutch forces. We kick them out of Kunching and I don't know where else, and we kick them. I think there's not much left of them. And I think sooner or later we will also start the march of from our forces on Bataan to get rid of Bataan. We still must fix the base of Clarkfield. This is still not ready. But we have here 100 engineers, so 2-3 turns. This is also over. And then we can move our air force from San Fernando to Clarkfield, because here's a airfield 8 and this is only a airfield 4. I don't really need the air force here, but why not? Why not? So yeah, this is this destroyer group, and I think I will send them back now. Maybe check again the coast, but here simply not. I cannot go here, and I have no recon information, no scout, so I don't know what is here. I cannot risk to go here and see here some mines in the moment I touch them. This will be waste of my fighting power. Some submarines are waiting and lurking, but not much happening here. So the battleships, not so successful operation, but I hope simply that Dojo sent all his cargo ship back to Karachi, and then he maybe lose 3 or 4 turns. Then I win something. It's this case. I check this base, and here's also is our cruiser formation. Simply 1 hex too slow to get last turn the battle. So I hope they will not escape here all now. I don't know, because normally there's no detection on this unit. So normally Dojo will not know this unit is here. But we will see. We will see. I also don't know exactly what is here. I only LST, AP, so maybe some troop transport. Yeah, so battleships here, destroyer formation, Calcutta, and the cruiser formation here deep in the Indian Ocean. Always to scare Dojo. Yeah, nothing more really happened here. Still under repair. Still need more time. Yeah, the second carrier fleet and all this other equipment, they need Singapore. I can only, or I bring them all back to Saigon, and then, but the journey around Saigon and then back, then I can also say I better wait and let them train and prepare here a lot of stuff. Upgrade the cruisers, because most of the cruisers they have the scout planes. A cruiser can normally carry 3 scout planes, but often they have this. This is a good scout plane with a range of 8, maximum 10. But often they have this mix, 1 of this type and then 2 of this short range scouts. And I won't get rid of this. I simply want to change all cruisers, all battleships to only operate with Jack. Only Jack is an active airplane I want to see. All the other airplanes are only for training. Okay, but this I have simply not enough Jack airplanes. I must produce more. But I cannot increase the production of the Jack scout planes, because once I change all this for the cruisers battleships, the ratio that I will not simply lose so many Jacks later, and I don't want stockpile too many of this. So I say, okay, I can wait up to 1 month. If end of February all battleships, all cruisers, everything have Jack, it's fine. I don't must rush this. I think it's not so important to rush it. Yeah, here's the force of. It's simply only one of these Navy Guard units. It's simply enough normally to get rid of this force. I think there are only 400 guys, not more. And they're engineers, no fighting force. More? Ah, yeah. So here's his first carrier fleet. Is now, next turn we will arrive the Sydney, and then we will bomb the port, I think the airport, and sweep Sydney, and then we go up the coast to make the same with Brisbane, and this is next turn, and maybe 2 turns later we arrive here in Port Moresby and make a strike on Port Moresby, and then we must go maybe back to Rabaul or Truk and rearm and refuel. Good. And here by Midway, I think it's not much. I only try to always bring the submarines in another position to not stay too long, because you have still some hunter groups here outside to find or try to find me. So anything else? I have 1 submarine is here. It's the Auckland lane, but I don't know so far. I think I found nothing, so maybe I go back to the Wellington line. I still have not enough submarines. Normally you need 1 or 2 stay here in front of Auckland and 2 maybe in Wellington and I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 here more, only to intercept some cargo shipping. I think it's not complete to block this, but only to find something. And the Fiji I keep now. I don't know how long Dojo will now be waiting to reinforce this. I don't know. Maybe I am back in 2 weeks and then I can repeat this again. So I think this is all. I don't have more I can explain. Maybe we can check the engine now. Maybe there was some success. Oh yeah. I don't know, it was last one, but we can see now it's September. So 1 month less. This is still ramping up. And this is at 62%. Okay. I think this is enough. Not so much happened, but maybe it's now, it's slowed down a little, but still we have action. And soon we will see the battle and fight of Singapore, and then sooner or later also the fight of Bataan. This is now the 2 new big battles coming up. And for me, normally this was very important, because this is now really the death sentence for this army. I don't think there's any way more to really save this. If we go really over the mountains, yeah, he can maybe save some of his units, but what is left of this is more or less than maybe 5%, maximum 10% of his unit will ever arrive here at Chongqing. So I don't even know if I want to fight with them. Maybe if we go over the mountains, then I simply say, then go over the mountains. I don't care. Because you will die. I don't want to even do something. Maybe I will simply try to get reach this location to have here. Or normally I must get this city. Because here we're coming, and maybe I drive this army here north and take this. Once we take this, we can use this smaller army to clean up the rest of the Mongolia, the inner Mongolia area. Okay. Thank you for all. See you again. Take care. Bye bye.